Of course, welcome. I'm Mia Voss. That's Joel, our travel Yoda. You're here in JGOOT Village. We're here every week, pretty much, aren't we? Well, I don't think we missed. If it is,
Ev-
we're not here on a Monday. It's because we're here on a Tuesday.
Yeah, and that's because everyone's traveling on that Monday, which does occasionally happen.
Go figure. In case you're wondering what JGOOT is an acronym for, it's Just Get Out of Town. And we have it right here at the bottom. We're a free community where we teach anyone the basics of how to travel anywhere in the world for free. This week, we are going to be talking about saving and traveling sooner or later, right?
And we hear that all the time, and it kind of strikes a chord with me. Yeah, whether it's, well, I mean, we may as well just kind of get started on that theme, saving for later. So many people are saying, I'm not ready to travel right now, because insert excuse here. For some, it's until I meet someone special to travel with. We'll talk about that a little later. For others, it's until the wedding, until the kids are older, until after the kids go to college. Then you learn that college is expensive, so it's until after the kids graduate. And then it's maybe once the kids get married. Maybe it's after that job promotion. Maybe it's after retirement. The bottom line is we all have those excuses that a lot of us tell ourselves for whatever reason, because it feels responsible, because it doesn't feel the right time, like it's the right time. But the one common thread is it's usually because travel done the traditional way is very expensive. So that's what feels responsible. We have to save up until that next big trip. But the JGOOT Way is all about spending 70 to 95% less on those flights and hotels. And when you can spend 70 to 95% less, everything changes. But let's just forget about that. A lot of you are new to JGOOT. A lot of you still haven't really been able to touch and feel the type of travel that is possible. So let's just talk about how, fine, if you are putting off that big trip until sometime in the future, maybe it's next summer, maybe it's in 3 summers, whatever, let's talk about a more effective way so that when you're ready to travel, you have 3, 5, 10 times as much in your vacation budget, so that you can, when that time does come, whether it's a year, 3 or 5 years down the road, or 10 years down the road, you'll have a lot more working for you, so that when you do cross that finish line, whatever it may be for you personally, you've got a bigger nest egg waiting for you. Just like planning ahead with the 401k, you can plan ahead for your travels so that it doesn't get pushed off yet again if you didn't plan ahead and have a big enough budget. So today we're going to talk about how most people save for future trips. Let's ignore just traditional savings, spending money out of your savings account, whether it's in a vacation budget or just your operating budget or whatever. But let's talk about the perks from credit cards. Most people kind of start to tune me out when I start talking about points. They're like, yeah, I tried points once, and it got me a gift card at Applebee's, or got me a statement credit. It never gets me much. And that's how most people feel. And that's because the traditional way, like I would say 95% of people who have points don't actually know how powerful they are. So they settle for a cashback card. Maybe it's the B of A unlimited 2% cashback. Maybe it's Discover, Costco. Some people are loyal to their Amazon card because it gets 5% on Amazon purchases, only gets 1% on everything else. But you all know the drill. Let's hear people just chime in with what your favorite go-to credit card is that you use. We'll probably hear a lot of people that use their Chase or Amex card, but I'll be curious to see what others are loyal to their B of A 2% cashback, their Discover card, Wells Fargo. Let's hear them. And while we're doing that, let's talk about the traditional way with 2% cashback cards. So let's just say you spend $50,000 and you get 2% cash back. That's $1,000 every year. If you spend half that, you get half that much back. If you spend twice that, you get twice that much back. those of you who spend more or less than $50K a year can do the math and figure it out. Now, if you did that for 10 years, let's just say you're putting off any big trips until retirement. Let's just say that's 10 years down the road. $1,000 a year invested at 8% would be 15 grand. That's not bad. That's a nice trip once you graduate in 10 or once you retire in 10 years. And that's what the traditional cashback card is. And that's what a ton of people have. I see some.
You see in all the comments, we have
Sure.
we have quite a bit. We do have love this one, Gwen. Thank you. Before JGOOT, it was discovered because it had the lowest APR, and I would apply the credit to my travel.
Yep, and that's another one too. Our philosophy is, who cares about the APR, because we don't carry balances. That doesn't mean that we're going to just go get a sky high one, but we're less concerned about the interest rate because we believe in paying off those balances before they incur interest.
Love this comment from Anthony. Thank you. Good to see you on here, Anthony. Pre-JGOOT, I was all about cash back until I learned points could be worth a lot more than a penny a point.
And Anthony just got back from being 5 or 6 days in a hotel that they paid for with points.
With kids. And they have kids.
Yeah.
Not paying with kids, but they're traveling with a lot of kids, and that's wonderful.
Only 5, and they still got back from affordable hotel stays.
Yeah, it was lavish.
So again, I see a lot of individual branded cards. We have a different topic on that. I see a lot of cashback cards. I see some wrong Chase and Amex. We've all done it. I keep one right here in my drawer.
Well, I love there you go. I know it's all dusty. I love the before and after comments. Maggie, thank you for this. City Advantage, but just got the Chase Sapphire Preferred after reading the book. Let me pop that in here. The book is the way. So go to jgoot.com/book and get started on that.
Yeah, this group, everything we dedicate our conversations to revolve around the book. So if you don't have the book, you can grab it. And sometimes we have to exclude or deny questions because they don't have to do with the book. And if it doesn't have to do with the book, it doesn't have to do with the JGOOT Way. There are other sites that are better for that. And we'll talk about why that is a little bit later. So that's the baseline. This is what most people are accustomed to. And no matter how they do it, if they've got a cashback card, if they've got a Delta Sky Miles card, if they got a United card, any individually branded hotel or airline card, odds are 1 to 3% is about all they're ever going to get out of those cards for various reasons. One, because 2% cashbacks, that's all you get. No more, no less. It's straightforward math. Individually branded cards, you don't have the flexibility. 9 times out of 10, other airlines are going to have way better deals. So if you're stuck with United or you're stuck with Delta, you don't have that flexibility and you have to pay whatever they're charging. And the odds are about 9 out of 10 times, they're not going to have the best deal, but you don't have a choice because you're stuck with that airline. So, whether or not it's, if it's either a flexible card, Chase Ultimate Rewards, Amex membership rewards. If you already have them, maybe Capital One. We're not huge fans because Chase and Amex combo is better. But anything out of that Chase and Amex combo of cards, you're probably going to be very limited in either your earning multipliers or your redemption multipliers. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. And so, you're looking at 15, 16 grand after 10 years of savings. If you took that cash back and just put it in the bank and invested it and, had it earn interest. So 10,000 worst case, 15,000, 16,000 best case scenario. If you are a 2% cashback person. Now let's talk about a long-term strategy. Let's forget about travels right now. Let's just talk about a long-term strategy that can get you more of a travel budget by doing so with points. And I saw someone talk about taxable. Yeah, so 15, 16,000 is best case scenario. Plus, you got to pay taxes on that. Plus, that's typically going to be after-tax money, so you got to save, even more. But these are points that you earn for free anyway, so that's a separate story. So again, the problem is 2% is pretty much the best you can do. If you have an airline or hotel card that's a Hyatt card, you might get 3 or 4%, but that's it. What we like to do with the JGOOT Way is use what are called flexible points, and those are Chase Ultimate Rewards points or Amex membership rewards points. And the beauty of those is you get to be a free agent. You can store all of your points in one central place. You don't have to like manage a bunch of different accounts with a bunch of different airlines. They're all in one central repository, or two, because you have Chase points and Amex points. And you can use them with 25 or 30 different airlines between those two cards. And that is really, really powerful because not all airlines charge the same amount. And there are times where one airline might be charging 800,000 or 900,000 points, and the other airline could be charging 50,000 or 100 points. It can literally be that different. So the idea here, we'll still talk about the same $50,000 a year in spend, but let's hear a yay or nay from people who have learned to travel the JGOOT Way on whether or not 3 points per dollar is a realistic expectation. Like, could you average 3 points per dollar? And
Joel,
when
I'm
you
going
can
to
do
point
that,
out real quick. I love that you have examples of all of our travelers too. If y'all are taking a look at all the photos that you have here on the side of the screen, these are great examples too of the way people are JGOOT traveling.
yeah. And by the way, here, I'm going to switch. I might get put on mute. I'm going to do this for sound quality.
There you go.
Okay, you still hear me?
Ooh, I like that. Yes, we do.
A little less echo. Yeah, these are all just for fun. These are people from within the past 10 days. So I always just pull up screenshots of people who are currently traveling. So we aren't digging way back. These are all testimonials that you can find in our Facebook group, JGOOT Village, from all people who are traveling. This is Diana and Scott. They just got back from a trip to, I believe it was in Nashville. $0 for a $400 a night place. $600 a night, and they paid $0. And they did not use $600 worth of points. I can guarantee that. Becky, that was from 3 days ago. Diana's is from 3 days ago. And then Courtney from 5 days ago. So yeah, the JGOOT Way, let's just assume that same $50,000 a year. Again, if you spend less, divide that number, down. If you spend more, multiply that number up. But if you spend $50,000 a year on a credit card and average 3 points, that's 150,000 points a year. After 10 years, that's 1.5 million points. So let's just assume you ignore your points and set them aside. And, after 10 years, you got 1.5 million points. The beauty of this is you can also redeem those points for an average of 3 cents a piece. And I think anyone that you see in these testimonials would argue that they got a lot more than 3 cents. But if you just conservatively estimate that you could get 3 cents a piece for your points, that's $45,000 in travel. So do you want to get 10 grand in cash back and slowly invest that and assume that you average 8 or 10% and have that eventually be a $15,000 or $16,000 kitty that you get to travel from? Or do you want to do that with points? And just by earning 3 points per dollar, which is extremely, extremely easy to do, and then get 3 cents per point out of your points, that's $45,000 in travel value that's just sitting waiting for whenever that point is down the road. Whether that's, graduation in 3 years, a wedding in a year, or retirement in 5 years, who cares? The same principle applies. If you start a savings account of points instead of cash back, you're going to have a lot more to work with down the road.
I think JGOOT math is better than boy math or girl math,
Yeah.
Just going to say.
It's a little tricky because of those two moving parts. You got earning multipliers and redemption multipliers. But that's the good part, is most people don't get it. But once that light bulb goes off and you realize that, It's really, really powerful. Speaking of, 3 points on the front end and 3 points on the back end isn't even the best part. Most of the people that you see in these pictures, and again, Sally here posted 4 days ago. She got a lot more than 3 points. That's her sitting in first class. She took her book with her. Thank you, Sally. Always nice when people take the book on a flat Stanley tour. But so 3 cents is pretty conservative. And again, anyone who's watching that's done more than 3 cents, either on the average earning side or the average redemption side, please chime in just to kind of let people know like how possible it is to get a lot more out of your credit card spend.
Can I just pop this in here from Mira? 3 cents, ha. She just got 6,900 points from a $300 purchase. I believe that.
Yeah. I mean, we're currently getting 14 cents per dollar on dining, and we were out of town all weekend. We ate out breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and took my son and his girlfriend to lunch. We spent a ton on dining, and we picked up thousands of points. We did not spend thousands of dollars on food, though. Ooh, nice. Mother's Day flowers for 9X. That's awesome. So, so if you can pick up wins like that, flowers for 9 cents, book your excursions for 20 cents. If you have an Amex card, you can go and book your excursions for your future vacations. And for some, if you're targeted, you're going to get 15 to 20 points per dollar spent. That stuff adds up fast. We've taken vacations and funded future flights just from the excursions on previous vacations. 2,000 points on a $55 purchase. That's a lot more than 3 points per dollar. So, 50,000 a year. So that same amount of spend, if you get better at earning multipliers and average 5 points per dollar, and then, so that's 250,000 points a year. For 10 years, that's 2.5 million points. You're looking at $125,000 in travel savings. That's almost 10 times the amount. Just from choosing to earn points instead of cash back. And of course, learning how to redeem those points more efficiently. And this is a post from Donna, who just took a flight in the famous Singapore suite. That's her and her husband in a side-by-side suite. I don't know what they paid, but my wife and I paid $13 for ours and $500 worth of points for a $12,000 flight. Again, I don't know Donna's metrics, but I'm sure they're similar. So that's 5 points on the front end, 5 points on the back end. And again, let's hear from people who have done that, just for inspiration for the people who still wonder if this is all possible. Here's Aggie. They just got back from a trip to Egypt. And so another example, another argument for stopping spending on your cashback card and getting a flexible points card as soon as possible would be, once you get better at this, you could earn 7 points per dollar and redeem those at 7 cents. You get the idea here. Earning multipliers times redemption multipliers. You're basically putting 49 cents of every dollar that you spend back in your pocket into a future travel kitty that you can use however you like. So let's do the math. 7 points per dollar, spending 50,000 a year. That's 350,000 points a year. Times 10 years, that would be 3.5 million points. And what you can do with 3.5 million points, if your average redemption is worth 7 cents per point, let's hear I've done that from anyone who has redeemed points for more than 7 cents a piece. That would be $245,000. So do you want $15,000 or $16,000 when you retire in 10 years? Or do you want $245,000 worth of points? So hopefully kind of that compare and contrast can give you some motivation. If you're still using a cashback card, all you're going to get is 2 or 3%. Never more, never less. If you just learn to earn more points and then learn to spend those points more efficiently, you can do 5, 10, possibly 20 times as much value.
You have a couple
So
of
that's all
comments.
great. That all sounds great. But again, it hasn't always been this good. Sure, I've taken those flights too. That's me on Emirates. That's their A380. And their A380 in business and first class has access to a bar and lounge. We paid $156 per person plus points, and each way was 45,000 points. So $450 worth of points plus $150 in taxes, and we got ourselves on a $5,000 round trip flight. And we did it for about $1,000 worth of points and taxes. And that was a flight with my family to Italy. This was our famous Singapore suite flight, $13 a piece, 53,000 points. That was a $12,000 flight. We paid a little more for this. This one was 70,000 points, $700 worth of points for a $4,500 one-way flight back to the States on Virgin Airlines. They also had a bar and lounge on it. And that we paid a little more in taxes. That was like $350 in taxes. Here's one of those hangover suites. It was like a 2,000 square foot suite in Vegas. Didn't even need points for that. Just had strategy. We paid about $250 a night. So it wasn't cheap, but that was a $900 a night suite. This was Mexico City. Didn't pay a single penny for this. And that was a $750 a night room. Ultra high floor, like 40th floor, beautiful views. And that was also like a 1,600 square foot suite. That was the presidential. And then here's another one of my family on that famous Emirates flight. That was that same one. I think one was outbound, the other was return. $156 round trip and $900 worth of points. 45,000 points each way. So that's kind of like that's the finish line. That's what you're striving for. Now, a lot of people say, I will never get there. And that's the same as putting money away in a 401k. The sooner you do it, the younger you are when you do it, the bigger that fund will be when it comes time to, dip into that nest egg. Travel and points is the same way, except the points don't grow in value. What grows in value is your knowledge and your experience. And the longer you put this off, the longer it is before you master this. And it's one thing to get the idea of earning more points and redeeming points more effectively. It's an entirely different thing to master them. And that's the key. So many people think, yeah, I'll plan this when I'm ready to plan a trip. I'll get started when I'm ready to do that. And that's a lot like saying I will get insurance when I get in a car accident. So at JGOOT, our philosophy is start building that stash of points so that when you need them in the future, you've got them. Now, the reason I bring up my personal story is like I said, I kind of Quentin Tarantino'd it and showed you the end, all this fancy stuff that we've done. But it wasn't always that good for me. So nearly 30 years ago, I had my first big financial loss. I lost everything, which wasn't a lot. I was in my young 20s. But hey, when you lose everything you have, it's just as catastrophic no matter how much you have. And at that point, I kind of swore, okay, I'm going to change things. I'm going to scrimp. I'm going to save and, get back on my feet. And I gave myself a long-term 20-year goal. And in this case, I saved for about 15 years and scrimped and saved, and we didn't travel. We didn't, other than road trips to visit family, we didn't travel a whole lot. And this was during critical years while my kids were younger. Very few vacations. Then the crash of 2008 happened. We lost it all. So we lost everything that I was saving for. So ironically, I was saving. I was being responsible. I was, making sure we had a good, fat, healthy nest egg for our family. And then someday in the future, we would travel. And 2008 hit. And by 2010, I mean, I was in the real estate industry. We were over leveraged in our, we've made it house. We're over leveraged in the stock market. It did us in. And by 2010, we lost our house. And by 2012, we lost our marriage. So 15 years of setting money aside, scrimping, saving, not unplugging, not spending quality time with our family so that in the future we could do more of it. And then we lost it all. This was when, this is why I started this company, is because once I changed that perspective, that's when everything changed. So again, we didn't, we started out as budget travelers. During and after the divorce, this is my famous first trip as just the three of us. And it wasn't great timing. But, I had decided that I wasn't going to do that again. I wasn't going to scrimp and save and cheat my family out of vacations for a future that may or may not happen. I'm going to live now. I'm going to enjoy this stuff now. So we started traveling a lot more. We're a diving family. On this trip, I introduced my kids to snuba diving. They were too young for scuba, so we did snuba. And they love it. They love the water. We love the beach. We go to the water whenever we can. This was a trip to Bermuda. Why? $100 flights. This was the famous $41 flight trip that we took to Houston. $41 flights and $186 per person, buy one, get one free. So we were all in on a vacation for $600. This one was inspired by $96 flights. This was a trip to LA to visit friends and family. I grew up in California. Why? $49 flights. Father-daughter trip. This was a great bonding trip for me and my daughter. Why? $47 flights. That was in Cabo. This is a more recent trip with my son, father-son trip, just the two of us. Really, really fun. I got to, so he told us he was going to graduate a semester early from college, and he was dying to go snowboarding, but the slopes weren't open yet. So I said, hey, let's celebrate your accomplishment and let's go have a guys surfing trip in Costa Rica. So, and this was really fun. Like I got to show him, it was a 6-day trip. We did 3 days at a super posh $600 to $1,500 a night resort. We got upgraded to the $1,500 a night place. That was the first 3 nights. And then we went down to Tamarindo, where I've been 3 times. I love that town, and stayed at a $30 a night 2-bedroom hostel. So I got to show him the best, the extremes of both worlds. And that, with him being in college, I feel like that's really important. We need to, he needs to learn to stay in hostels and check that out and socialize and all of that. But we also got to experience the luxury side of it too, which I paid less for. I paid nothing for that trip because I used points. And then we paid $30 a night for a beachfront hostel. And actually, we both had a lot more fun at the hostel. And so the moral of that story is that, I did this. I did this for the first 20 years of my adult life. I did this for that 15-year window where, I was trying to recover from my loss in my young 20s, did really well at that. Then I lost it all. And that realization that I had of, we keep, I could have traveled. I even had a short period where a pilot friend gave me a buddy pass. And in my brain, I told me I couldn't justify traveling. And he finally gave me a kick in the pants and said, why aren't you traveling? Like you went through a divorce, the paperwork's finalized, your kids are with their mom every other week, and you've got a free buddy pass. Go get out of town. And it wasn't until he pointed that out that I said, yeah, you're right. So it's our human nature to put this off. It's human nature to say, oh, that's lavish, that's irresponsible, I can't do that. But when you learn to spend 70 to 95% less on flights and hotels, heck, it could be cheaper to get out of town than stay home. So what I would encourage you to do, hopefully I gave you motivation to change things up. Get the right cards so you can start earning points, and at the very least, build that nest egg of points up for in the future. But if you're going to go to that trouble, you may as well start traveling now. And in this book, page 21 has an exercise that could have you going on a very, very affordable vacation. You could find something as soon as tonight. No points required. So whether or not you have the right points already doesn't matter. Page 21 of the book has an exercise that will show you how to do that with no points at all. Page 51, and actually that's page 20. Page 51 of the book will show you how to go and have a just cheap, easy staycation. No money out of pocket, very little points, and it just gives you a taste of how affordable travel the JGOOT Way can be. So rather than thinking we've got to save, maybe start thinking about we've got to get more efficient with how we spend our vacation dollars and start practicing now. You can practice with a free staycation in page 51 of the book. You can practice with a cheap, ultra cheap flight that takes as little as 6,000 points to fly somewhere and get out of town. So it doesn't have to be $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 vacations that you need to save up for. It's, by anticipating, by thinking, let's just get out of town now. Let's find a way to do an affordable vacation and practice. And the more you practice, the more you get out of town for quick weekends away and get free hotels and earn 14 points per dollar while you're eating out, the better you get at this and the more addicting it becomes. So what I'd like to leave you with is, so many people like to put this off. They say, oh, sometime in the future. I did too. Sometime in the future, we'll save enough, we'll have enough, and we can travel more. But the best way to prepare for that is to quit saying tomorrow, 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 and start planning for that today. So in summary, what I would suggest is stop putting travel off until tomorrow. Start planning that treat now. That starts with just having the right cards. And with JGOOT, there's no guesswork. I got 2 emails this morning from people that said, oh, I read your book, and what do you think about this card? You can do that all day and night. And if you want to go read other people's blogs, you can vacillate and overthink this and overcalculate it and reinvent the wheel all you like. But with JGOOT, it's very, very simple. Start with Chase, learn to get 3, 5, 7 cents per point, get comfortable with that, and no other card. No Capital One because unlimited 2x. Nope, not as good as learning how to use Chase. No B of A cash back because it's unlimited 2 points. Nope, that's maxed at 2 points. And if you just do the exercise in the book, you can get way more than that out of your points by just learning how to spend them. So that all starts with the right cards. If you have the wrong cards, you're bringing your best sword to a gunfight. It just ain't going to work. And what I would encourage is don't put this off. Like page 51, you can go do a free staycation this weekend with a lot fewer points than you think. So the key here is putting it into practice, getting those, taking 5,000, 5,000, 8,000, maybe 10,000 points and getting a $200 to $500 a night room. So you're taking $50 to $100 worth of points and getting $200 to $500 nights worth of rooms. That's where the value comes in, because once you know how to do that, you can get better at it and better and better. If you don't do that, you're not going to get better until you start. So get the right points, get the right cards, learn how to stretch those points 3 to 10 times farther. If you don't have points at all, stick to page 20 of the book. That exercise doesn't require any points at all, and you could book a dirt cheap trip as soon as tonight, just with the exercise on page 20 of the book. And then, of course, get the right cards and learn to earn those points. So, there's a solution for everyone here just based on where you are. If you already have the points, go practice and spend them for more than 2 or 3 cents a piece. If you don't have the points, practice finding cheap flights, plan vacations around those, and then start building the right points. And the 201 and 301 sections show you how to earn 3, 5, 10, 50 times more points with various earning multipliers. And then just, don't put this off until later. Don't put this off until after the kid's wedding. Are you kidding? Kids' weddings are huge opportunities to earn tons of points. We've had tons of clients who have funded their entire luxury honeymoon from just their wedding expenses. But you've got to learn how to do that. So it starts with the right cards, the earning multipliers, and that's all covered in the book. And if you do that, I can assure you your future self will thank you for it, because the adventures I've had with my kids since about 2012, when my income got drastically cut after the divorce, has doubled, if not quintupled, in both quantity and quality. But that's because I learned how to do it. I learned how to do it for less. And once you learn how to do it for less, you no longer have to put this off until some arbitrary imaginary finish line down the road. So that's all I've got. I haven't been reading comments. I'm guessing, there have been a lot of, what about this? How about that?
Lots of
Any
that.
of those for me, Mary?
I have been saving them, lots of that, but we have Anthony and Brooke that are in the audience as
Yeah.
well too, who are answering them, which is great because we wanted to focus on this too. I love how you're mentioning that the trip with your son, the fancy part of it was cheaper than the hostel part of it too. So that's a great example of it. I mean, and your kids are just now in college and they've already had experiences of a lifetime based on this. So thanks for giving all those examples too. I know a lot of folks are like, but how, but how, but how? And he's been giving you a lot of these little Easter eggs in the center of that too. Let me just pop this in here real quick because we haven't talked about it yet. We have some questions. Diane, thank you for this question. What's the difference between the lounge and the village? So today obviously is the lounge, but Joel, why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Well, yeah, today's the JGOOT Village.
Or sorry,
This
the
is
village.
our free group.
See, tricking you.
and
You're paying attention.
So JGOOT Village, it takes a village. Takes a village to unlearn expensive travel habits. That's kind of our philosophy here. And this is a free group where we have weekly webinars, free information. It's a free discussion group for people who have questions about the book. JGOOT Lounge is for people who have gotten the basics of these concepts. Maybe instead of getting 2%, they're getting 10 or 12% from just implementing the steps in the book. So in other words, if they spend $50,000 a year, they're getting $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 in travel value out of that credit card spend. JGOOT Lounge is like hiring a personal trainer. So JGOOT Village, it's like the gym membership. You can lift all the weights you want. You can go to all the classes you want. It's kind of unlimited, but it's high volume, low touch. You're not getting personal help from personal trainers. JGOOT Lounge is like hiring a personal trainer. It's a personal interview. We like to make sure that it's a good fit. We might like to make sure that you do travel enough, that your goal is luxury travel. Probably no sense if you're just a budget traveler, unless, you have like a family of 8. But basically, JGOOT Lounge is, hiring us for personal help so you can master all of the steps in the book. Best way to figure that out is get into the book, see if you agree with the concepts in it. If you like that, you can upgrade to JGOOT Vault. That's the video version of our book. It's a library of all of these trainings. We also do some of your daily research for you on finding those Rule 1 cash deals. And then, of course, JGOOT Lounge. That's if you really, really like this and you want our personal help to meet those travel goals. And yeah, if you're interested in that, we can set up a call and just kind of find out your travel goals, find out if it's realistic, like if you spend enough that we can help you get at least $10,000 in free travel. And if so, we can tell you all about JGOOT Lounge. And to find out about that, just comment interested here in the group and we can set up a call.
So we have a ton of comments. Let's just pop through some of them because some of them are fun and informative. And again, Diane, I hope that answered your questions. Everybody just comment interested if you want more information about the lounge, but we are here in the village right now. Sandy, thanks for this comment. I'm a single person. I just cranked up 27,000 points on Rakuten last quarter. It's a different thought process to multiply the opportunity. So that's a whole other ballgame, but I wanted to
Yeah.
mention that as well
Good for you,
too.
Sandy.
Yep, yep. Saison, one of our lounge members, she's here in Colorado, currently have 752,000 points between their Amex, Chase, and Rakuten. Speaking of which, planning on some amazing trips in the future. This summer it's Spain and Greece for 3 weeks in a few weeks. Yay.
Well, a couple cool things about that. A lot of people say, well, we have kids in school or we're teachers and we can only travel during peak seasons. Cezanne is a teacher. She's very active to remind people of like, yeah, we're a teacher on teacher salaries and yeah, we get to travel this way. So it's a lot about learning to leverage that. And notice that she didn't say 752,000 points with, 150 Chase and 250 Citibank and 75 AA points. These are all
Mhm.
just consolidated points that they can take and use as needed. That's a lot more powerful than a potpourri of, or I like to call them a yard sale of points scattered throughout half a dozen, if not a dozen different programs.
Here's another action item for you. You can go to jgoot.com/vault now. This will be up here on our channel for another 24 hours, but you can watch all of these videos. So that would be the next step. One would be the book. Absolutely. Joel mentioned, it's when he's mentioned the pages. Not even it's in the book somewhere, but he's actually mentioned the pages on a lot of these action items. But jgoot.com/vault is also the great way to up your game for
Mhm.
next steps of really learning about that as well.
Yeah, so the book for people who do just fine following steps in a book. The vault is the next level. It's video training that is meant to complement the book.
Mhm.
This video will go into that library next week or later this week, and it's a whole collection organized by Rule 1 suggestions, Rule 2 suggestions, how to start earning more points, how to redeem them more effectively, etc.
A few other comments. Juanita got a 90,000
Woohoo.
SUB is sign up bonus, and that was actually they said that it was actually through the JGOOT links as well too. So they got their 90,000 sign up bonus for Amex Gold. Thank you for that. Shannon is here too. Hi, Shannon. She earns an average of 8 points for $1 every dollar she spends. Just normal, regular spend. No sign up bonuses added in there too. So let me pop this in here. Here's your Pepsi challenge question. It's kind of pulling everything together. But Sherry, for asking this, can you explain it like we're five? I've never used any of these cards. Am I the only one who has lost? I've only gotten cashback cards before. We've given you a lot, but I figured you could sort of sew things together with this comment.
Sure. Well, and the best thing I could say is if you're 5 and you're trying to learn a bike, we could explain how to ride the bike
Or
all we
drive a
like
car.
until we're blue in the face or
Mhm,
swim.
mhm.
And the biggest thing is to get in the pool or to get on the bike and put your helmet on and your knee pads and start trying. So, yeah, you've only gotten cashback cards because that's your comfort zone and that's what you know. What I would recommend is start by reading through the book. There is an exercise that suggests either either of the sapphire cards based on how you spend, and just start collecting those points. That's more important than anything because as long as you have those cashback cards, it doesn't matter. Those are stuck at 1.5 or 2% value, no more. And the key is to start collecting the right points. And these are points that, and it's kind of like, do you want to amass, just keep collecting 2% cash back? Or do you want to switch over to, a Visa card that can sometimes be worth 10 times as much? Sometimes it's worth 20 times as much. Sometimes it's only worth 3 times as much, but that's still better than only 2% cash back. So the first step is just getting the right card. And I can't really explain it better than that because the best way to experience it is once you have the right card, then you practice spending the points. And we do that in the Hyatt hotel exercise where we show you how to take 5, 10, maybe 12,000 points and get yourself a free night somewhere in a town. Oops, sorry about that. Somewhere in a town near
That's
you. And just practice. So get the right cards. Don't overthink it. Just get a Chase Sapphire or a Chase Ink. Odds are a Chase Sapphire. Flip a coin. It doesn't even matter which one. The most important thing is that you're earning the right points, and the book helps you decide on which one. then practice spending them. And once you've done that, once you learn how to take 5,000 points, which is $50 worth of points, and turn that into $100, $200, $300, that's when the magic starts to happen. We can't explain it like a 5-year-old. You have to experience that yourself. And until you step into that room that you didn't pay a single penny for, and you used points that you hardly spent any money for, you can't experience it until you try it. I wish it was possible to explain it like a 5-year-old. We wouldn't need our expensive program. We wouldn't need to show up every week if that were possible. The biggest thing I can do is just say, get in the pool and get in the shallow end. You don't have to worry about jumping in on the deep end. You don't have to worry about trying to swim in the ocean. Get in the shallow end and start practicing.
We showed you a bunch of different depths today too. We did show this shallow end and as well as the super fancy trips as well too. Some other action items, again, go to jgoot.com/vault. You can watch these videos. They pair so nicely with the book, I think. We also have our Southwest Companion Pass training. So go to jgoot.com/Southwest. That is taught by Stephanie, another of our experts. And we have some of our experts here that are commenting as well. And then we have this one that we launched last week, which is jgoot.com/cruises. Super fun. That's Julie and Mira that are teaching that. Some more of our experts. And I've seen a bunch of great comments about that as well too. So you can sign up for that too. All right.
Yeah, those are all optional mini trainings that are meant as, smaller samples of what you get in JGOOT Lounge. That way you get to know some of our coaches, you get to know some of our philosophies in bite-sized chunks. So yeah, those are all there. We've got a few more coming out soon.
Yes.
And just, practice, get involved, get the right points, learn how to use them, and the rest happens from just doing it. As long as you're sitting on the sidelines, as long as you're just reading the book without implementing it, you're not going to see much progress. But once you start doing that, once you just go and do a free staycation for a weekend, or once you just book a quick $50 round trip flight to visit a friend, that's when the magic starts to happen. And that's when you realize, like, oh my gosh, I could have been doing this all along. And then, it's kind of a chicken or egg thing. Once you start getting out of town affordably, then you get addicted and you do it more. And all the old excuses start to melt away.
So I'm going to pull this comment up. And Sandy, we just want to send you some love. She said, don't wait. We did. Her husband just got diagnosed with cancer and now their travel plans are on hold. She also says we saved all of our lives. We are, but I wanted to pull it up to send you some good love because she's still here and planning travel. They should have been traveling all along. We totally get that, Sandy. And definitely, this is a don't wait situation for all of us. And then we hope to see you traveling with us too, though.
Yeah. Well, and that's, I don't know if you could Google it. Randy Posh did a great presentation. He died long ago from cancer, but a lot of what he taught, he calls it a head fake. So this was a little bit of a head fake. I talked about planning for future travel. And what I really wanted to do was paint the picture of how powerful points are. But if you can get good at this, and the best way to get good is by practicing and going and taking little trips now, that's when that future value becomes more valuable. So I painted a picture of, how you could take $50,000 a year and spend and turn that into $100,000 or $200,000 worth of travel in 10 years. But if you have $200,000 worth of travel in 10 years, why not just spend 5 or 10 of it every year so that you have the memories every year along the way? So it was a little bit of a head fake, how to save long term. But if you can get so good at saving, you may as well spend a little along the way and enjoy life along the way.
I know. Don't wait. Keep going. I love that. All right. So again, our action item is jgoot.com/book. We've got the vault. If you're interested in the lounge, comment interested. And I told you we were going to fire hose you today, and you did, Joel. That was great. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. And we're not sure how we're going to give the $100 travel savings card away, but we'll let you know. So stay tuned. All right.
Yeah, we'll pick a random commenter and notify them in the comments once we've done that.
We will. All right, everyone. All right, Joel, take us out.
Happy travels.
Thanks.